Today you'll see a knit skirt. You can make it in several lengths. It's such an easy make. I think maybe you could make it in half an hour if you were rushing, an hour tops. Beautiful print to share. I've made a super long one with a little something extra. Hi sewing friends, I'm Karina from liftingpinsandneedles.com. Welcome to this channel that is all about sewing, limitless sewing, and I'm gonna call this relaxed sewing. What you're gonna see today is a super easy make. I didn't even know what to film for you because it was just so easy. I still filmed parts of it. You can really relax with this one and not worry. You can also relax in the fitting as well. It's so easy. I'm just repeating the word easy because that's what it really was. What I'm talking about is a Heartlight skirt from Pattern Emporium. This was a skirt that was released many years ago, but it has already had the sizing update, so that's really good. So the Heartlight is an A-line skirt and it's finished with a yoga waistband on the top. The original design has a center back seam, and then you have 4 lengths on the pattern piece. You have a maxi, you have a midi, you have a knee length and a long mini, which is a mini skirt, but not that mini. And then for each of these, you have heights, so short, regular, and tall. So you'll see lots and lots of lines on the pattern piece. You're gonna find the one that's right for you. I'm making the longest one, maxi, tall length. That's what I'm making. I want it to go as long as it can. And this skirt is on sale, 50% off for 1 day. So remember, Pattern Emporium is an Australian company, so all of their times are set in their time zone, Australian Eastern Standard Time. So the sale starts on Friday at 6 a.m. in Australia and finishes on Saturday at noon, but in Australia. So if we're over here in this side of the world, we're sort of late because Australia is sort of ahead of time. So for us, it starts Thursday evening, it probably ends Friday night, something like that. I think it's helpful that on the website, when you look at the pattern, there's a little countdown on the top. So that sort of tells you how much longer you've got to purchase the pattern, and you don't have to think about time zones and things like that. You don't need a code, it'll appear at checkout automatically. And I'll leave you my affiliate link down below if you'd like to use it. If you click and you end up purchasing, I receive a small commission, and that is one of the ways I make an income, making helpful videos on YouTube all about sewing. You can use a vast array of knit fabrics to make the Heartlight, anywhere from lightweight to heavyweight. In the light department, ITY, single brush poly, double brush poly, rayon spandex, modal spandex, bamboo spandex. Take into account that these last 3 are going to be super stretchy and they're going to end up longer than what you think. So if I had been using one of these fabrics, I wouldn't have cut the longest length. I probably would have cut the line above, and then it would have ended up long anyway because they have so much vertical stretch, and the weight of the fabric just pulls it all down. So make sure you think about that. And I have talked vastly about my dislike for rayon spandex now. It's beautiful when you buy it, it's beautiful when you sew it, but it's a fabric that just doesn't last that long. With modal and bamboo, I have zero experience about how long those fabrics last. I know that they behave similar to rayon spandex, but I don't know how they fare in the wash and that sort of thing. So if you wanted to know if I know, I don't. They don't sell that fabric here. I cannot buy it, so I've never worked with it. I've never even worn it. That's how much I know about bamboo spandex and modal spandex. Medium weight fabric, swim. You can make a super cute skirt, little mini one to go over your swimsuit. That would be amazing. Athletic knits would be amazing. You can wear a pair of shorties underneath and wear them for sports. So many options. Stretch velvet, cotton lycra, French terry, all that would work. And then hopping onto heavier fabrics, because this is an A-line skirt, I think it would be super dramatic in the longer lengths, like Ponte Roma, Liverpool. There are some really heavy knit crepes out there. Scuba also would be pretty dramatic. I think in the shorter lengths, the A-line shape would be much more pronounced than if you saw it with something with a bit more drape. So they could look pretty different with the fabric choice that you have, but don't limit yourself that much. You'll be okay. Just make sure that for the waistband, you have a fabric that has nice stretch and recovery. That is really important. Not so much for the skirt, but see that your fabric has at least 10% spandex. If your fabric is super lightweight and you feel that that is not going to hold up your yoga waistband, use something else like cotton lycra or an athletic knit. That's going to work 100%. In my case, I was so excited to sew up this zebra print. It's a really nice athletic knit, medium weight, not too structured, perfect drape for this design, and enough stretch and recovery so that I could use the same fabric for the waistband. So I'm very happy with my choice. Now, one thing I want to say about fabric requirements, the skirt pieces can be quite wide, especially if you're going into the longer lengths. you know, on the edge of the A-line, there's a little cut line there where you could add a little like triangle there in case your pattern piece doesn't fit onto the width of your fabric. That is for sizes 12 to 30. There's a little extension there that you can add onto the side. And if you have a print, you really won't see that seam. It won't affect anything. I would not want to do that with a solid fabric, then you will really see the seams. I had the absolute pleasure of working with a really, really wide knit fabric. It must be like 60 inch, I don't know. It's just super wide and my pieces fit perfect. I did not need to use those little extensions there that you can add if you want. So think about that. Try to find wider fabrics. I think knit fabrics usually come wider than the narrow ones you find in woven. Sizes 6 to 30 Australian are available, goes up to a 59-inch hip. The full hip is the one that you need to use to choose your size. The hip is what's supposed to fit, you know, as the base. Remember, there are short, regular, and tall cut lines for each of the options right here. So you'll see lots and lots of lines there. Make sure you choose the one that you like. You find the finished lengths in a little table, so it's easy for you to know. I'm sewing a size 16, the longest version. Absolutely no pattern changes, nothing for fitting.
I was just really sure it was going to fit like always.
There's not even the tiniest of question marks in my head when I'm preparing to sew. I'm just really excited to get the project done. And it's been like that pretty much ever since I started sewing Pattern Emporium. Every project's super enjoyable. For sewing, let me mention a few things. The seam allowance is 1/4 inch, so you're meant to be sewing on the serger. Very tiny seam allowance. I think that's perfect. For at least for the fabric that I'm choosing, I'm very happy to use just the serger. I know if I was using scuba or ponte, I would have probably wanted a larger seam allowance. I would have wanted to press it open and sew it with my sewing machine. So think about that. But I think light to medium weights, the serger is absolutely fine. The pattern piece, you have a separate one for the front and a separate one for the back. They are not the same. They have a different little shape on the top of the waist, and at the bottom, a little different as well, a little bit longer at the center back to account for volume of our bottoms at the back. So I think the skirt is very well made. Even though you might think it's such a simple A-line skirt, I think it's been drafted beautifully. So I really appreciate these extra little details there. The back is meant to have a center back seam, and I suppose it could be easier to cut it that way with some fabrics. I was able to cut mine on the fold because my knit was wide enough, so I just folded that seam allowance away. I really wanted to have a center front slit here because I wanted the longer length. You might know that I like to show my legs a little, not because I think my legs are amazing. I just think it creates a visual impact. It's just a better proportion for my height as well, to see a little bit of skin. I feel better. So I was really hoping my fabric was wide enough for me to fit my pattern and have even a little bit left over for me to add 1 inch at the center front. And yes, it was possible, adding a little split there at the center, and I'm so happy about that. Let's see the little bits of sewing I filmed for you, for your entertainment. I'm sure you can make this one in your sleep, standing backwards. It's gonna be great. I'm super fortunate to have found very wide knit fabric. So even though I'm making a size 16, my 4-piece fits, even with a bit to spare. Now for the front, it's supposed to be cut on the fold. From the center fold there, I'm gonna leave an extra inch there. So I didn't even cut away the paper, and I've placed it from the edge of the selvage an inch away. This is quite a large piece for the front and quite long, nice and wide at the bottom, goes out into an A-line. Now I had left an extra inch over here, right at the selvage. The selvage is pretty, it's really clean. It doesn't have any ugly thing right there. So I'm not even gonna serge it. I'm just gonna leave it like that. And I have already sewn this seam. So it's in essence the same as if it was on the fold. It's just that I have a seam. From here upwards, it's a regular stitch length. From here downwards, it's a basting stitch. So I'm gonna go to the iron and press it open. Once I've got a nice memory crease here for the slit, then I'm gonna remove that basting stitch. But this is my front right here. It's gonna have a slit down the middle. It's gonna be super pretty. This skirt, I don't even know what to film. It's just so easy. So I'm just gonna talk you through it. Once I have the slit pressed and all of that, I'm just gonna put the back on top here. The back was supposed to have a center back seam on the pattern, but because again, my fabric was so wide, I just folded that tiny seam allowance away and I cut my back on the fold. I have to match up the side seams and just sew all the way down. And for my yoga waistband, because I wanted to use a little scrap from one of the sides, I'm gonna have a seam on both sides. The original pattern piece would just have a seam on the center back, but that's a very easy change that you can do. And you know, the print is busy, no one's gonna know. So after having the skirt done, I'm just gonna fold this waistband in half like that, divide it into 4, divide the waistband into 4 and sew it on. It's just such a relaxed, simple make. I think what's gonna take the longest is sewing the hem because I'm gonna be hand basting that and it's quite wide at the bottom. Here I'm sewing the super straight side seams. Very easy, very relaxing, nothing hard over here. The seam allowance is 1/4 inch, so I'm trying to not trim anything away while I'm doing that with the serger. I have already serged all the bottom for the hem. Now this is the inch that I'm going to fold in for this slit. I've just folded it right sides together there. I have the memory crease that I had from before. I like doing mitered corners, but because the hem of the skirt is so curved, I don't want to do an inch hem allowance here. I don't really like big hem allowances like that when the hems are curved. So I'm not doing mitered corners. I'm just going to sew here with the hem allowance I'm going to use, which is going to be 5/8 of an inch. So there, flip it and it'll turn out neat, but not mitered corners. You know I like a good slit, especially on a long skirt, and this is so easy to do. I'm glad I had the width of the fabric to do it, so I'm a happy camper today. There it is. Now I flip it and we get a really neat look here with the hem coming from behind the fold for the slit. Repeat on the other side and that's how neat the center fronts are going to look. I'm starting sewing the hem with a smaller seam allowance, as you can see, but once I get to the center, I'm going to start sewing the slit with 3/4 of an inch seam allowance, just because I've left an inch folded on the inside. So I'm going all the way up the slit, then I have to pivot up on the top and then go all the way down and then continue with the hem. It's quite a long hem. It'll be a long hem. It took me a while to hand baste this in place, but it's all worth it. You know, nothing's moving from underneath, so I'm always happy and I never regret it. I left the waistband for the last step this time because my slit's already done. I've just marked 1/4 points on the waistband and on the waistline. Super easy because the side seams are a reference as a 1/4 point. So I just matched that up, super easy. So I'm now stretching the shorter waistband slightly as I serge to match the length of the waistline of the skirt. Easy peasy, and the Heartlight is done. Can't wait to put it on. I am just so happy with my skirt. The yoga waistband is everything. Now I have seams on the sides right here on both sides because I was trying to use one of the little bits left over from one of the sides where I cut the skirt. So I'm never sad about that. I don't have a center back seam like the original one would have. And I'm never going to get confused which is the front and which is the back because I have my center front seam. I sort of calculated the slit was going to start above my knee. I never want it too high, showing my thigh or things like that. That's not my jam. But I do like my boots and my shoes and my leg to show a little bit. So I like having 1 inch inside, and this selvage was very nice. It was very smooth. There was no marks, nothing ugly on it. So I left it and I didn't even serge it. I did serge the bottom for the hem, and you saw why I didn't do a mitered corner. It's because I have different seam allowances there. Hem allowance is smaller. Let me tell you how long it took me to hand baste the hem and the slit. Very worth it. I'm saying it took ages, but it probably was like 3 or 4 minutes. Still very worth it because the result is really smooth. I don't have a center back seam there. It didn't disrupt the zebra print like it did here at the front. I'm so happy. It was so easy. Very relaxing. What can I say? Zero stress. And there's a time and a place for all types of sewing. All the things that are more complex and lined. But then there's time for these. And I absolutely love the result. I think I've styled it 4 ways for you. Black and white, so many options. Let's see. This is my gorgeous Heartlight skirt from Pattern Emporium. This is for knits. It's an A-line skirt and you can make it in many lengths. I've got the longest one here all the way down. That's how I like it. And just look at this zebra print. It's amazing. I didn't make any adjustments to fit. I just chose my size, which is a 16, and it's so comfortable. One thing I did add was a center front seam so I can have that slit. I think it's beautiful. Let me tuck this in so you can see the comfy yoga waistband. It's just the best thing ever. keeps the skirt up but doesn't dig in, so it's just amazing and feels really, really good. Now, I did have the width in my fabric available to add 1 extra inch at the center front so I can fold it in for this slit. And I've got it just above the knee, so I'm not looking to show my full thigh, nothing like that, just a little bit of skin under there for ventilation and just because it's pretty and it's just so gorgeous. Can't wait to wear this one out in real life. The black and the white make it really cool for styling, many options. The next one's going to be quite striking. So here it is, more of a winter styling, more appropriate for now. I'm in winter. This is a With Love poncho, also from Pattern Emporium, and I sewed it in a neat boucle. It's just amazing in this magenta color, just gorgeous. I've got some boots there that you can see. I just absolutely love this outfit. It's super bright and just brings happiness into the dreary season, which is winter. So yeah, this is winter styling. I think this skirt can take me a long way. If it got really cold, I could wear tights underneath as well. So yeah, another option I thought up just because I saw the poncho there in my cupboard. Absolutely love this poncho. It's so, so cute. Love that neckline with the buttons there. It's just amazing. And of course, the black and the white skirt is going to go with any color really. So now I've got it paired with green. This is my smitten jacket in linen, also from Pattern Emporium. I've got some green sandals there to bring it together and a green bag. Simple tank tucked into the skirt there in white. Absolutely love this outfit. It's so, so comfortable and just another way to wear it with a light layer on the top. Because I've tucked in the tank, you can really see the yoga waistband and where my waist hits on my body vertically, my vertical proportions. So I think this is really nice. And then the last one is a little bit more expected, all black and white here. This is a linen ready-to-wear crop blazer that I found this summer in a shop. I really want to make something like this because I've been wearing it quite a lot and it goes perfect over something that has a little bit more volume at the bottom. I think it looks really balanced. I've got the same simple white tank tucked in under there and I just love it. It's classic. You can't go wrong with black and white. There's no way you're going to look out of place or that it's not working because it's always going to work. And I'm very happy to have this gorgeous zebra skirt that I can wear many more ways actually than what you saw here. I'm very happy. I wish I would have had time to make more, but knowing how easy it is and how much I love the fit and everything, I'm probably going to make one in swim. There's so many things you can do. I mean, for winter, for summer, for any occasion. And I think it's a great pattern. Very well made, fits amazingly, and you're going to have a great time. I think it's really worth you checking it out, especially because it's 50% off. It's an amazing deal. So I highly recommend. That's all from me. You'll see me again in a few hours with something else. So make sure you subscribe to this channel. There's always something helpful for you in every single video. I'll see you soon. Bye.